Yeah, hi. Trying to use the Android instead of the video cam because the quality of the videos were declining and my viewership were also declining too. Well, let's see how this one goes. And the problem with this the cam when everything is in more detail, uh, then I really don't like watching all my teeth. Well, I got pretty good teeth, but I'm sorry. I'm judging my own videos before I even make them. But I want to continue in this video with some stuff on cosmology that I've been going through with them. In other videos, I have a video. It's called "Universe is a Lonely Woman Programmer," and there were a few other ones. Um, the ones I have on Instagram, they're doing much better, and the quality of the video is much better. But I want to just go over some of the concepts that lead to conclusion that the universe is really a, a quantum computer that's simulating uh, different different arenas or different beings that represent the universe or show the universe in and what the universe really wants to do or say. Uh, I'm Muslim and I believe in what the Quran says that there is a verse. It goes like this: "Kuntu kanzan makhfiya." I was a hidden treasure. I wish to be known. And I think, the Sufi master said that the universe creates these beings, these creatures. There could be many different planets. They all evolve. For example, they could have evolved. There's evidence for this too, from dinosaurs, and then they become gradually more intelligent, and then also the evolution of consciousness in these beings, and then at some point uh, it becomes a more spiritual kind of creature that is like a mirror of uh, of the universe. The Sufi masters said the universe creates mirrors, and it looks in these mirrors or these beings for their her own image, uh, her own reflection of how much this being is uh, is like God, is a reflection of God. But this discussion, I kind of entered it in another video. It was called uh, "Philosopher's Can of Worms." Well, actually, there was a philosopher in Renaissance time. His name was Giordano Bruno, and he entered into this discussion. He actually lost his life over it. At the time, they had discovered or they had made the first telescopes, and he was looking around and seeing all these dots of light in the sky. And also they were looking at Jupiter and Saturn, and they saw that there were all these moons of these larger planets. So they kind of surmised that all these dots of light that are further away, they're probably suns, like our sun. And then that kind of led to another discussion, or more aptly put, for Giordano, it led to opening up really opening up the can of worm, because once you start thinking that, well, the other stars, they're really just like our sun, and then probably there is other planets, maybe some similar to our planet, and then these planets probably have beings. They may or may not look like uh, humans. They may look like an evolutionary descendant of dinosaurs. Then uh, uh, would the spiritual developments happen in these creatures? And where are we with this? If in our civilization we had a Jesus or Prophet Muhammad, they were very spiritual beings, and then that also led to this other conclusion that, hey, maybe there are thousands of Jesuses out there. This is maybe an evolutionary spiritual development, is not confined to a certain historical period or a certain place, but that this is really a development that happens in the consciousness, and this consciousness, well, it's similar to kind of evolution or a personal evolution, as like a baby grows up, becomes older, becomes an adult, then the consciousness that evolves, then at each stage, it this consciousness has a different name. At earlier stage, it could have evolved into a creature that looks like a snake, but his consciousness is that of Moses, or the consciousness of the same creature at a later point of its evolution is that of Jesus. And so Giordano Bruno made the mistake of proclaiming these philosophical arguments, and oh my God, he got a real hostile reaction from Catholic Church, because a part of Catholicism is that Jesus is the only one, he's God. Here is this guy is saying that, like, this can happen elsewhere, and it probably is happening in different forms. Uh, these these philosophical arguments also happened in religion of Shia, which is like, I think it's the real Islam in its pristine form is Shia. But many of the Shia uh, clerics and believers, they believe that the last Imam disappeared like thousands of years ago, and he will come back at some point, and it's physically the same Imam. Nothing changed. He just went into a time machine, well, and then he's just going to reemerge at another historical time. And there are these signs and all this, but then there is a minority. These are very small. And this minority, they often get their ass kicked very very bad, but the minority would say that this is not a physical reappearance, is actually the same consciousness, the same spirit comes back. Well, in the original presentation of this narrative that the last Imam will come, it says that also Jesus will come, and other Imams will also come back. But then one could argue in favor of my point that all these dead people, they cannot come back. It's really the spirit that's coming back in different bodies, or well, I don't want the fate of Giordano Bruno, and we're gonna uh, we're gonna kind of divert ourselves to another part of the discussion that kind of relates to what the universe is really, a universal or giant consciousness. And this consciousness is really what is simulating all these creatures, all these imams, all these Jesuses. And if at another epoch in time it could totally simulate Jesus, or again and again and again. And if we want to discover how this machine works, we need to look at uh, what it has been doing, what simulations it has been presenting, what are these stories trying to do or say. And well, many Old Testament prophets and saviors or imams, they come in, they have their manifestations, they have their miracles, and then the society uh, doesn't totally accept them. It's kind of spellbound by them, and then they kind of get killed or martyred, and then things die out until the next imam or next prophet comes in. It's the same thing as the what the Sufi master is saying, that every once in a while the universe or the timeless queen picks up the mirror and kind of looks at it, and then puts the mirror back away. Uh, but these conclusions are so bizarre, so kind of out of ordinary way of thinking, that in effect you're thinking that, hey, we are like window dressing. This is really there's this giant machine, is that's the universe, and is doing its own thing. It's like many women you see, they take their cell phones out, they take selfies. And or another way of saying that,